I love your
schedule.
ritual.
Alrighty then. Hello everyone. Welcome to another leadership chat with May, your coach, and Grow with Ron. So
Yes,
excited
grow
to
with
be
one.
here. Yay!
Yeah.
So today's topic is by Ron's request. Tell us
Yeah.
why you're requesting this topic.
I'm requesting this topic because it's one of my favorite topics, Jay. Uh, and I'm always very curious to learn about how people they live and if they're happy and how they get to where they are today and have that particular life or life design or lifestyle, and how, like, if any of that was planned or very like coincidentally, so and I have followed you for quite some time. Is it 1 year now? I think it's more than 1 year, and really
Well, COVID's
fascinated.
been around for 2 years, so 2 years.
Yeah,
COVID
and
brought
I
us together.
yeah. So I know I don't want to say thank you, COVID, but just really grateful for knowing you, and I'm really fascinated, and I'm really inspired um, by you and the way you live and your boldness and braveness and all of that, and especially your van life. And I know a lot of people follow you and are very fascinated and are curious about your life. So, and I wanted everyone, more people to know and be inspired. So, and this particular topic is one of my favorites. Um, so I wanted to, yeah, invite you and ask you like to join this talk. And I had, several friends who said, "Wow, this is a great topic." Yes, it is. So that's why I chose this topic.
Yay! All
Yeah.
right. So the crowds want to know, and yeah, and what else is there to life if you're not designing your life the way you want it, living life according to your own terms, and 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 being happy, right? I I always go back to whenever I make a decisions. I always go back to, did I get on a little tiny fishing boat when I was 12 years old to, I don't mean to be politically incorrect or anything, but it's like in the 70s when Vietnam turned, it was super scary for all of us that we had to escape out of there. We didn't know what the country was going to be like, the new government is going to be like, and all this stuff. So we risked our life. So every time I make a big decision, I always go back to, did I risk my life so that I can be doing this or that, right? So that's always a part there that fuel me. So that's one
Mm-hmm.
place. And but really it's, I think it's every human's right, and every human's hunger is to live the life that you want to live, to do the things that you want to do, and to have enough, and to have a great time in this lifetime, and be safe, and be loved, and be wanted around the world. So how do we do that? And so much sacrifice that we have to, we get caught into this game of, you have to sacrifice in order to achieve that success. And then when you achieve that success, you have to sacrifice again in order to get the other thing. So I think we've been taught that in order to have what we want, we have to sacrifice, we have to discipline, we have to settle for less, and we have to put our head down to achieve certain things. That is somewhat true. It's not 100% true. I think there is a certain amount of work that needs to be done, but sacrificing and working hard is not the only answer to this puzzle. I think there's a whole bunch of practices that we need to get into in order to create the life that we want. Um, so so yeah. So when I thought about this topic, I asked myself, so what are the practices that I have been living in order to make these decisions? Because like you said, you mentioned my van life. I'm 56 years old. My partner is 73 years old. He 3 years ago was came down with prostate cancer. So it was, like most people who have the bad news of you have cancer, they shut everything down, they stay at home, they look for treatments, and um, they go to treatments, and they hang on to life, and it's a very fearful journey. But what we did was completely different. We got rid of our house, we got rid of our possessions, and we bought a van and we started driving around the country. And it turns out that has been one of the most life-saving uh, healing things that we could have done for him, was to leap out and did the things that we both have always wanted. What would it be like if we just travel around the world, around the country, and COVID happened and all this thing? And the van saved our life, saved his life. Every time he's in the van, he's younger and more alive. And when we're at home or when we stay at our relatives' houses, he's just become this old man who is sick again. So it's a very fascinating thing. Anyway, I'll stop talking because I could go on.
Yeah, Michael, you sent me a bunch of these, you mentioned about your daily practices, right? So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to pick one. Uh, I'm very curious. This dare to dream, we all have. I think most have, not all, have dreams, but they always become like stay dreams. It's not something that we like really have the courage to live, because like you said before, right? It's a lot of sacrifice and then settle for less, and it's a lot of discipline. So could you share more about this practice, dare to dream and be not satisfied with your current situation in a soft and gentle way?
Yeah, there's so much there. Like we can spend a whole entire 45 minutes on just that one, right? So first of all, when I thought about this conversation, I started listing out my practices, and there were like 20 practices that I have been living and practicing every day for several decades now, ever since I was um, 16, 18. It's like I constantly have to make these decisions in order to get in the habit of doing crazy things. People think I'm crazy. I know my parents thought I was crazy when I let go of my engineering degree, my lucrative career, to be a life coach. At that time, 25 years ago, nobody knows about life coaching. So my parents like, what are you, why? They couldn't understand. Even now, it's been 25 years. My mom still go, if you had stayed an engineer, you would have had whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but I have burned through 3 passports with extra pages. Look at all the places that I've been to and all the things that I live. So, dare to dream. Most people actually don't dare to dream. They dare to complain. They don't. They're very clear on what they don't want, but they're not clear on what they want, and they're afraid to even say that. I remember asking my brothers one time, and I'm like, "Well, what is it that you want?" And he said, "Oh, I can't say that out loud because if I do, I might be disappointed." I'm like, "What?" So dare to dream. Each word means something. You have to have the courage to dream. To my mom told me just yesterday. She said, "This is so amazing that we're all here in the United States." When I was 6 years old, she had a study in Australia, from Vietnam to Australia, and she went there. And at that time, in this 1969, 70s, like people don't travel, and it was a big deal for her. And she remembered making a wish that her whole entire family would be in the United States. We didn't have money at that time. You have to have a lot of money in order to create something like that. And if you're lucky, you can send one child to the United States, not the whole family. And yet somehow we made it here. Somehow the whole entire country turned upside down, and then we ended up here. But it's that dare to dream. It's so impossible. It's ridiculous. How are you going to do that? That kind of dreaming that most people, if you tell them, they would say, "Oh, come on, don't dream. That's too much. You're going to be disappointed." Right? So that's the dare to dream, and don't be satisfied with your situation in a soft way. What I mean by that is it's good to not be happy with what you have. Like most people shoot themselves to like what they have, and then they get comfortable to it, and then they settle for it, and then they work really hard to keep it going instead of going, this is not good. I have to walk away from this. And I walk away from a really good marriage. It was so crazy. There was really nothing wrong with my marriage, but it wasn't quite right, and it was time to go, and it was just like, it's time to go, and oh my god, and it was so hard to do, and it was ridiculous. Like people would think, what the fuck, why would you do that? You have a child, you have a house, you have a husband, you should stay. And I had to walk, I had to keep going. So dare to dream, and don't be satisfied, and don't talk yourself into being satisfied with what you have.
Okay, with that, I have a question, Jay. Can I jump in here? Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the marriage, right? Did you make that hard and very big decision to leave, to break your marriage because you were dissatisfied or unhappy, or just because you had a feeling that you wanted more? I mean, that it wasn't, that it could be better, that you could be more happy or something. So, or was it like a combination of both?
Well, it's not like that. It's little pieces. It's following what life throws at you. So what happened was, I was getting ready to turn 39. I was perfectly happy in my marriage. I had a cute little house in a town called Pleasanton. It's pleasant in Pleasanton. Everything was okay. Everything was good enough, right? And I was getting ready to turn 39. I was like, how am I going to celebrate my birthday? And suddenly my intuition came in and said, put on a sex party. And I'm like, what? It's like, what? I don't know what that is. Why did my brain just say that to me? Well, that's crazy. So that's the kind of like unfolding that it happened. So I went home and I said, honey, guess what I'm going to do for my birthday? And he's like, what? And it's like, put on a sex party.
Oh
That's
my
crazy.
God. Wow. Yeah, I mean,
Right?
I heard about that because I have read your book, which, by the way, everyone, if you're watching, please get Chị Mai Khôi book. It's, everyone should read it. So I think that detail was in the book already. Yeah,
But
how I think.
so these little things. So then we followed that, as crazy that was. And so he helped me put this on, and it was a beautiful party. I mean, I could just write a book about that, and we have to talk about that someday. Anyway, so as that happened, it opened us up to asking the bigger question, like, what do we want? And so it was not a clean exit. It was a very confusing, messy, painful exit, because we didn't know what was happening. We just followed the urges, follow what life unfolded in front of us, all the way to life was helping us. 6 months into opening up our marriage and having other lovers coming in and out of our marriage, we're very conservative, and it's like, what? Anyway, 6 months into doing something like that, our house was flooded with the sewer from the street. Like the universe even help us out by dumping all this shit into our house, and we couldn't live there anymore. So we had to move into to a little apartment and put the house into construction. So, and as we were doing that, it became very clear to us that we
Mm.
need to separate. So we separated. It was a very painful time. There was so many tears that happened at that time. So many times I'm like, am I just stupid or crazy or irresponsible or what's wrong with me, right? So I would judge myself, but I keep following what shows up in front of us. So the willingness to follow what life throws at you is so important, because if you don't follow and you stay stuck, you resist that, you get hurt. You hurt yourself. So anyway, we keep following, and 6 years later we sign our paper peacefully, and it actually turned out to be the best thing for all three of us, for my daughter, for him, and for
Mm.
me. So it wasn't what looks like a terrible thing is not. So there's another thing to practice, to believe in, is everything that happens in life happens for us, with us, instead of to us or against us, even though it looks like it's a bad thing.
Mm.
Everything that happens in life is happening for us, with us, rather than against us or to us. So when you start living life from that place, you're gonna feel safer or more confidence to make choices that allows you to design it the way you want it. And you don't know the whole picture. You only are handed a tiny little piece, a tiny clue that said, do this,
Mm.
put on a sex party. What a crazy clue to follow.
Yeah, that's really like I have never. I mean, like for I don't know, for an Asian like woman, that's so like very like wow. Could that really like could an Asian woman like raise this crazy idea? Like that's really because you don't really hear
Right?
about it.
I Yeah, let me just make it clear. At that point, I've only had sex with one person, and that was my husband. I was raised properly. I behaved properly. I did it right. I was Catholic. I was an Asian woman. I was a mom. I was a CEO of my company. I had reputation. So what business do I have to create a sex party? I highly recommend it, by the way. If anybody ever are interested in that, contact me. I'm happy to support you around that. Anyway, but I wanted to share that extreme clue, that extreme turn of event that happened for me and for my husband, even though there were a lot of moments during that time that my husband resented the whole thing from happening. But he needed to wake up
Mm.
also. And that whole shakeup woke both of us up and allow us to reach our full potential, allow me to reach my full potential anyway. So anyway, it just was one small example of what happened, what could happen when you decide to design your life the way you want it. Because your inner spirit, your soul, your bigger than life, I I call that your priestess. If you're a woman, your priestess, your powerhouse, badass priestess inside you. She knows what you need. But our physical self that is fearful and resistance and like to play small, she rather just be in this box. But then when you be in a box, you die in a box, right?
Mm.
That's what a coffin is. That's the ultimate box. So living life by design, you have to practice breaking boxes.
Mm.
I meant to have this. Do you guys know that game called Jenga? It's a block game
Oh yeah, yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
you build up. Or if you go to the beach and you build, you know,
Yeah.
castle, sandcastle, right? And most people build the sandcastle and they want to protect it. They want to keep it
Yeah.
the way, and they want to,
Yeah.
and if anyone come by and step on it, they get really mad because you destroyed it. But that's the practice. You need to build your sandcastle, and then you need to step on it and destroy it. You have to practice being unattached. So make sure you get into the practice with your kids, with yourself, with your friends, whatever. Like, let's build this thing and then let's destroy it. Let's enjoy the destruction of that. Kind of like the Tibetan, that they do the sand painting. Like they spend days or weeks to make that beautiful sand colorful picture, and then they just blow it into the wind. That's what you need to practice too.
Wow.
I'll stop talking.
Yeah, well, it's very like, wow, like everything. I mean, gonna start to practice breaking boxes. I think that's really good for me. Definitely very good advice. But you mentioned this
Yeah.
word, and I think most people, including me, just don't like this word, destroy. Like when you said,
Yes.
just gather family and build it and then enjoy to destroy it. I'm like, oh my God. Because you put so much effort in and love and everything to build it up, and then is it possible with love also to destroy something? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. I keep thinking of, I look at your shirt, your beautiful creamy white shirt. It's so perfect and it's so beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, you should try pouring ink on it.
That's my worst.
Right?
That's I don't have a lot of white clothes because I'm always afraid that I will spill on it and there will be ink because I use like pens. I take notes every day, so
Yeah, right.
that would be like the worst thing for me, like having like some kind of like ink here and there.
Yeah. So it's like you can see how naturally we're also attached to things being perfect and the way we like it. And then we get stuck in that. So we get trapped in these things. So that's why it's like, it's a good practice. So once in a while, not all the time because it's so hard to do, but once in a while, just take something you really like and change it and make it something different, and make it like a practice, a practice to break your attachment to things as is. Because as human, we are designed to keep life the same way
Hmm.
because we think that that is safe. But what is safe will end up killing our spirit. So you have to keep leaping, you have to keep doing crazy things. Whenever someone look at you and going, that's kind of crazy, you're like, oh, thank God I finally get to practice that crazy thing.
Yeah. This is so important. I think I've just realized I don't do enough crazy things. Uh, so, wow. Okay, you mentioned earlier about something about sacrifice and then something about settle for less and discipline. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because I think it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
we are trained to sacrifice. We are conditioned, like our parents, right? Maybe not your mom, because your mom is pretty cool, so she might not do as much, but I know she does some of this because she's human. We're trained to delay gratification. We are trained to sacrifice, to work hard, and to believe that that is going to get you the life that you want. No, that's going to get you the life of sacrifice and working hard
Hmm.
and waiting for something to happen. If you There's a beautiful saying. It's like, if you want it, like if you want to be a CEO, be the CEO today,
Hmm.
even though you're just a janitor right now. Act like you're a CEO. Wear clothes like your CEO. Embody that mindset, right? So it's the same thing. It's, if you think that by sacrificing and putting what you want later, then that's what you're going to have, is a life of sacrifice and putting what you want later. If you want what you want, you have to say, that's what I want and I'm going for that.
Hmm. Okay, so
I
that's,
remember when I graduated from from college. First of all, it took me 7 years to get out of engineering school. And well, to my credit, partly because math was not my strong point. So it took me a few classes to do the same class a couple of times to get things done. And I also paid for my own education. So I worked and I got my degree. So it took me a little bit longer. When I finally get out, my mom was so expecting me to go to work because it's been 7 years. She's been waiting for me. And I said, well, actually, I'm going to go backpacking to Europe for 7 weeks before I go to work. She had a shit fit. She was so upset at me for doing that. But I'm like, well, I'm going to be working the whole life. So I better put in some play now before I have to work, right? Before someone own my time. It's those kind of crazy decisions that you have. One of my practice is you have to practice disappointing your parents. You have to practice disappointing your parents. And then if you have a husband, you have to practice disappointing your husband. You have to practice disappointing your kids. Oh my God. There's so many mothers put the kids first and then they lose their mind in being a mom. And the kids end up growing up and treating them like crap because they put the kids first. No, you have to put yourself first. And then your kids come second, which is not what we are taught to do as good mothers.
This is actually a very good point because, I know many mothers out there and they always all about their kids, and I see them and they don't look so happy or seem so happy. And I'm like, why don't you just give yourself your self time, self love, and the kids would, I was like, I give them this example because I'm like, I'm not a mother, but I think it's important that you need to, be really happy, and that eventually will affect your child, right? Your kids, because if you're happy,
Yeah.
it affects them. They can see and feel that you're happy and all of that. But if you're always like tired and stressed and, only care for them and not taking care of yourself. So, but have you always been aware of this since you got your daughter? Did you know from the first moment that you need to take care of yourself still, or was it later on?
I never thought of it as I need to take care of myself, but I always thought of it as I have work to do in the world. And having a daughter is part of that work, but it's not the sole work. And so even when I remember when she was 5 months old, I'm still breastfeeding her, but I handed her over to my husband then and I said, I gotta go. I'm gonna go on a 3-day business retreat with my partner and we gotta figure out this business. So you take her. And I already pumped the milk. They're all in the freezer. You just take it out and feed her. And he's like holding her going, but I don't have boobs. It's not the same. And I'm like, you can do it. You can do it. Rise up. You can do it. So that one little example, oh my God, how dare I hand a 5-month-old baby to my husband? And how could I be ripped away from her? Like, we have a natural maternal instinct that we don't want to separate from our kid, from our baby. They're so cute. So it's like, but I have to practice walking away from her so I can have a life, so she can have a life, so that I can be purposeful and nurturing, not just nurturing. And I think that's what a lot of time what happened to men and women is that you lose your sense of purpose. You replace purpose with responsibility. You think responsibility is being on purpose. And purpose is so important. If you don't have a sense of purpose, you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you become terrible mothers and fathers and lovers and partners and employees and all that stuff. So purpose, a sense of who you are and why you're here is so important to have.
Wow. Purpose
So
versus
yeah, I didn't think
responsibility.
of it as I have to please myself first. I just thought of it as I have purpose. Yeah. I have purpose and then responsibility, not responsibility and then purpose. A lot of time people flip
Mm.
that.
Chị,
They're really great dad. They are responsible. They took care of everything, but then they lost their purpose.
I have a very quick question before I forget about the your when you design your life. Did you do that? For many years back, or is it, do you still allow things, the universe and things, and to come into your life, and then you navigate and then you adapt into that, or did you plan like I wanted to live like this like many years
Yeah.
ago?
Well, the way you ask that question, yeah, the way you ask that question makes me laugh because it seemed to imply that you sit down and you design your life, and it doesn't work that way. Um, you, I have, I have, I have just desires or nudges. Like I, when I worked as an engineer for corporate America, I just knew that I was not happy there. So all I
Mm.
wanted was, can I please be happy and have a purposeful life? I'm not happy here, but I don't know where to go. So I
Mm.
tried my best to I got a master's degree in organizational development so I can learn other aspects of work. And that opens my eyes up to this thing called human being, how to work with humans. And I started really liking that. So I just follow my joy. I follow what feels good. So the anchor is I must have purpose and I must be happy. I don't know how. So then I try to do every little step to make me happy. So I took a program that made me happy. And then the company was downsizing. So I asked them to let me go, which was another crazy thing to do. Like, who in their right mind, when there's a recession, that you would ask to be let go, right? So, but I asked
Mm.
to let go so I can follow. And my boss asked me, why? And I said, I need to go find it. I don't know what the it is, but I need to go find it.
Mm.
So it's one of those things where you just leap off into the unknown. So there isn't I sat down and I planned it out and this is how it goes. And then I think there are people that do that. I just don't know how to do that. I just know that I just follow my joy and then the next things will unfold for me. And so I did that. And then lo and behold, I got this note from my friend that said, hey, check out the coaching school. I think this is for you. That was a random law from the universe. I looked at it and I'm like, this looks good. Sign me up. No research whatsoever, just leap. And I went there and it was like exactly what I wanted to do. So I said yes and I just sign up. And so you have to say yes. I think a lot of time people are afraid to say yes.
Mm.
Say yes and commit fully, even though you don't know where this is going to lead to. So that's practice, number 10 or something. Like say yes more often. Most people say maybe, which is a no,
Mm.
not yet, which is another no. How do I know? That is another no. And and then they say no. So most people say no more than say yes. The opposite.
So in designing your life, what I have learned so far is to have like this basic, anchors, the basic or the values you are navigating after, right?
Basic desire.
Desire, like you want to be happy and all of this, and then follow the joy, as you said. But what I hear is it more like, if we say heart versus brain, so it's following the heart more than being like very logical, step by step, I want to do this, or how does it work?
Yes. I so most people are trained to lead by the brain and then lock the heart away. I'm here to say lead by your heart and then put your brain to work to make it happen.
Hmm.
My brain worked a lot to make what my heart wants to happen. My heart wants to be able to work from anywhere So this is why I'm here working, but I'm at a party, and I'm anywhere that you can work from anywhere. My heart wants my own freedom to make my own time, to love and to serve the way I want to love and serve. And I don't want some boss to tell me how to do it. That's what my heart wants. If you ask her how, she's like, I don't know. That's just what I want.
Mm,
Right now, it's up to the brain to say, okay, if this is what we want, how are we going to make it happen?
mm,
And the brain is really good at making things happen. But the brain is not good at inspiration and and um, and you, the heart want what she wants. Follow the heart, but let the brain make it happen for the heart.
mm. Makes very good sense. Yeah.
And there's one more thing that you haven't mentioned.
What is that, Jay?
There's the brain, there's the
Mm-hmm.
heart, and
Mm-hmm.
there's the groin.
Yeah.
And this is actually really important. If it's not, I'm just going to be really blunt here because I think it's so important.
Yeah.
If you're not hard or wet, like if you're a man, if your cock is not all excited
Uh-huh.
about it, or as you're a woman, if you're not juicy and wet down there, all excitement, you're not in the right place yet,
So it's about excitement,
right?
right?
This is yeah, it's excitement and it's true. This is your North Star is down there, right? This is like leadership chat that you don't get anywhere else.
I love
if
it.
it's not if you're not wet, you're not there yet. You have to get excited. You have to like want it. It has to like open you up and you're like, yes, 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 yes. Most
Mm,
of us stop short from that. Most of us
okay.
go from here and go, this is rational, this is logical, let's do that. And it's safe.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like most people, they're like rational, like they use logic and their brain a lot. And then that could be sometimes blocking their excitement, right? Or
Yes,
what? Yeah.
yes.
So,
The brain will
yeah.
talk you out of it.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the case for most people. I believe that's really my impression when I also talk with people. And it's really good because very much what you shared also I learned from a TED talk just recently, really good about making hard decisions. And also another one that I just thought of is another Viet Kiều lady who's also considering like she asked the question about she wanted to retire by the age of 40 or something, and she is in her 30s now. She's 30 years old now and decided not to have they don't plan to have any kids and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, 30 years, that's very early, to already have made these, big and hard decisions. And they wanted to move to Vietnam and asking about how is the retirement life in Vietnam and stuff like that. So I'm like, wow, okay, so why Vietnam? I had so many questions, right? So are they like kind of like in the process of designing their life? Are they following their heart or their brain or some of the things that you have shared right here, right? Do they have some principle they want to live by or desires, as you mentioned before? So it's really like this fascinating, how people they want to live their life and also plan for their futures. But I guess, yeah, what you said about the excitement is really like the key here that maybe not so many people talk about, but mostly like heart versus brain. And yeah.
Maybe I should do a TED talk that's titled, If It's Not Hard, Don't Do It.
Yeah.
If you're not wet, you're not there
Yeah, can you
yet.
just give another like example where it's like another crazy thing that you have done, like where you have disappointed either your daughter or your ex or your mother, just another example.
Well, a simple, a less drastic, but very drastic example was when when I gave up my apartment and my daughter can't live with me anymore, and she chose to live with her dad instead of
Mm.
me. That was just really was really it felt really insane. It felt like it went against some very natural mother instinct that I have, and I think a lot of women have. You know, like my daughter at that time was only 14 or something like that, and she also wanted to go live with her dad, and so I kind of walked around, kind of going, well, who am I if I'm not living with my daughter every day, putting watchful eyes over her and making sure that she's safe and all that stuff. It was really not what I had been trained to
Mm.
do, right? I had imagined that if I have a kid, I would live with them until college, and then I would move to their college town so I can be near them, right? So it was really weird when she decided and we decided. It just logically worked out that way, and I was afraid that I would be missing out on something. It was so
Mm.
illogical. But as you know, my daughter, and
Yeah.
it hasn't impacted our relationship. And we get together and we have deep conversations. And in some way, living far from each other allow us to be closer.
Yeah, that's, that's,
Yeah,
I can relate
it's
so much
weird.
because after I moved to Vietnam, and my mom is in Denmark, our relationship got much better and much, we talk almost every day. And yeah, it just got so much better, our relationship. And I would also say, yeah, it really seemed like to be a very illogical thing that you did with your daughter. And most people, I think, would think, oh no, she's gonna lose her daughter. But yes, I know your daughter May. She's amazing, and I feel really like inspired by the your mother and daughter relationship. And actually, I have been shared um, your
Yeah.
some of your streams, live videos to some of my sisters back in Denmark who also have teenage daughters because I wanted them to watch your
Oh,
videos. Um,
yes. Oh my God. That's our dream. It's like if we could help mothers and daughters out there understand each other and support the girls or the boys in growing up around their sexuality, that would just make us so happy. Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to hear
yeah, I
that
feel like
you
so
share that.
inspired, and I have like few sisters also who reach out to me several times, and they share with me like it's challenging. Is really not easy to have like a teenage daughter, and they ask me like, do you have some books or something you can recommend for my daughter to read? And like they really love their daughter so much, but it's wow, motherhood is complex and it's tough, right? But yeah, so that's why I shared with them some of the videos here. But of course, there's so much just about behind the scenes, whatever you have done over the years, and there must be like multiple books you can write about all the things that you
Yeah.
do to build that
Well,
relationship.
actually, you just mentioned another something that's really important is is to be honest with your children and be honest with yourself. In how to design your life is you hide nothing. You are an open book, and you let people deal with your choices.
Mm,
I said that purposefully. You let people deal with your choices. Don't protect them. Don't people walk around and go, oh, I can't tell her that. She's just a kid. She won't understand. I have to protect her. I
yeah.
think that's bullshit. I think that is terrible parenting. First of all, your children knows you more than you think they know you. They can
Mm,
feel you. They
yeah.
know you by feeling you, not just by what you say, but they see what you do and they feel you. So when you don't be honest with your kids about what you're up to, you're sending a terrible mixed message to them
Mm,
that that first of all they're not worthy of being upfront with, so they're less
mm,
than, that you disregard them, disrespect them, and then and then you're telling them that they're too too stupid to understand you. So you discount them, yet they know you more than you are willing to admit. So it's like, don't be crazy. So whatever you do, be upfront with your kids, be upfront with your parents, be upfront with your spouse. And they might not like it, they might be upset. Give them time to be upset, but it's so important that you're honest with yourself and with everyone around you. That is the core essence of living life according to your own terms, designing your life the way you want, is to be honest with what you want and go for it.
Okay,
And that people violate that all the time.
to sum it,
Is it time to go?
yeah, it's if I have to sum it all up, I actually have one thing that I think can describe everything that you have shared today is you mentioned being brave, right? And like uh, share with people and let them be disappointed, or so it's being brave. It's about not being fearful, and I think that's the thing that people are living their life in fear, so they don't want to like fearful or afraid of disappointing people, or afraid of the uncertainty, the unknown, and all of that. So they just rather stay in their comfort zone and settle for less. Or
Yeah. I think I would modify that. It's not about just be brave. It's about feel the fear and do it
mm,
anyway. It's about feel the fear and
mm.
do it anyway. There's actually a
Oh
book
yeah.
called that. And I remember when I quit corporate America and I was wandering the street in San Francisco going, why did I quit my job? Oh my God, what is going to happen to me? I'm doomed. I'm going to live under the bridge or something. And I walk into a bookstore and it was a very bad fear day. So I bought 3 books, 3 self-help books. And one of them is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And that is such a simple book. And the message of that is simply that we have all sorts of fear, but basically all the fear leads to one place, which is we are afraid that we can't handle it. That's all there is to it. We're afraid that we can't handle it, whatever that it is. So feel the fear and do it anyway. So people can handle whatever that you cause the ripple in. You can handle whatever you cause to yourself. Life can handle you. Everybody can handle you. So feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's the definition of being brave. Most people think being brave means you don't have fear and you just go and do it. It's actually, you do have fear. You have lots of fear.
Yes, I do. I do. That's for sure. And that's also one of the things I need here to put on my to-do list is to practice that. Yes, you might be fearful, but just do it
And go
anyway.
destroy that shirt. Or something similar. Get into practice.
Okay, I'll.
Put a marker on your white wall. It's like, this is the represent.
Jay, I really love it. You really sound like crazy, but in the best way that we all should be doing more of. Like I really, yeah, I really do
Yes.
believe those are the things that we should do more of. Like you mentioned before, take something that you like and then change it. So now after this call, I will find something that I like and I'll try to change it. So just
And send me a picture. Make it and practice, right? Sometimes you change it, you make it pretty. Sometimes you make it ugly. That's okay. Live with it. It's okay to live with something that you took beautiful and made ugly. And it's like, yeah, but that was a good practice for me to get into. Because I think for me to sum it down is that you can't design your life. You are always constantly designing your life every single day.
mm,
And so whether you're designing it by being super conservative and constricted and wait, or you design it by leaping and trying and playing and leaping and trying and playing and leaping and trying and failing. Fail forward fast. Oh, we haven't even talked about that. Fail forward fast. So if you we are taught in school to not fail, to
Mm-hmm.
succeed, get an A plus or whatever, the highest grade, right? But no one said fail forward faster. Okay, great. Fail again and again and again and again. Keep failing so that you can get to the life that you want.
Mm. Yes, so correct. We are always so afraid to fail, and we have been taught in school like it's so bad when you don't pass an exam or something. Like sometimes, like I still like I don't feel like
So much shame.
yeah, so much shame. Like you said it before, and it was super brave. You said you are not great at math, and you have to take a little bit more time, to overcome that challenge. And I also have like with IT, like I failed like few times, and I was like, oh my god, this is so disappointing, and I'll disappoint my parents. I have to like not to tell my parents, they will get like so disappointed and all of that. So okay, dare to dream, Jay.
This one, this
Dare to
this
dream.
one quarter,
Yeah.
yes, Dare to Dream. And I, I had I you just remind me of a funny time where I went home from college for Christmas holiday, and I walked to the mailbox because my
Mm-hmm.
grades was mailed to me from college, and I'm like, oh God, please let it not be a C, please let it not be a C, because it was a really hard class. It was a vibration class or something like that. And so I ripped it open. It wasn't a C, it was a D.
Oh no.
So I had to take the class over. I'm like, whoa, it wasn't a C.
You get what you
Anyway,
ask for.
you live to
You got
tell.
what you asked for.
And you should be more specific, right? Oh God, let it not be a C. Can I please make a B minus? No, I didn't say that. I said, let it not be a C. I open it, it's like, oh, it's a D. Okay.
I learned
All right.
I
On that
learned
note,
another thing today. Okay, need to be specific in your desires.
exactly the desire, right? I think desire is also a very important word. We don't usually use that word in leadership, in work, but desire is more honest than want. It's more honest. It's like it's a desire. I can't explain my
Mm,
desire.
mm.
It's what I really, really, really want.
Yeah. Dare to dream. Do more crazy things. It's okay to disappoint people around you, people that you care about. Learn to take things or change things that you love or enjoy or even destroy it.
Destroy.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
destroy.
I was like, I don't.
She still have a hard time saying the word.
Yeah, and then be honest, right? Don't hide anything, especially because your people around you, they are part of your life, and then just be honest and upfront, and then for them to accept and let them deal with your choices.
let let them deal
Yeah.
with your choices. This is an important sentence. Let them deal with your choices. Be honest with yourself, with everyone else, and let them deal with your choices. Don't protect them from that.
Mm.
Most
I
people
used
said,
that reminds me of
yeah,
something, Jay. I used to give an advice to a friend, like, you know what? If that is your desire or your dream or whatever, and you are afraid that your family would not support you, what I would do is I would put together what I had in mind, like the desire or the new life plan or whatever the changes,
yeah,
and then make a presentation, just like in business. You put together a presentation and you make it exciting for your family members, invite them, over, or everyone who's gonna be
yeah,
affected, and then just say like, hello, I love you guys so much. This is really, really what I've been dreaming for. These are my desires, and I hope you will be part of it and support me.
yeah,
And so, and he laughed because it's so typical you, Luan. It's so like PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that. Yeah, but you can make it fun. It doesn't have to be so formal, but yeah. So I really love that idea. Yeah.
I I think that's a great idea because you're enrolling support. You're inviting people to
Mm.
support you. Don't try to do your life by yourself. Live in community. I think that's another point that I have on my 20 something list. It's like you got to have your community supporting you. And not everybody is ready for that. You know, like I see a lot of clients who try to get people around them to approve of their desire, of their dream, but they get it from people who have never done
Mm.
it. Like, don't go to someone who had never get off a couch and ask them to go what they think about you going motorcycling.
Mm.
Right? They would be like, no, that's a terrible thing to do,
Mm.
right? That's a terrible thing to do. That's not what I'm saying at all. You know, like, you be honest with yourself. If you like to go motorcycle, learn how to ride a motorcycle, then go learn how to ride a motorcycle. Ask people around you who are into riding motorcycle how to do that. But don't ask someone who sits on the couch all their life what
Mm.
they think about you riding a motorcycle, because they're going to poo-poo it.
Yeah.
And people do this all the time. And then they're like hurt that people don't understand them. And I'm like, what? I don't get it. Yeah.
Mm. You mentioned, yes, these 20 daily practices. Am I allowed to share them in the group? You know, I think a lot of people would love to learn about these. Or is it, yeah?
Oh, I'm happy to share. I just feel like it's so sloppy. I'm like, oh, I got to make this pretty, but maybe not. You know, it's like, share, and if people have questions, you know, they can always write to us. And then after that, we can make it pretty, because I think it's a really important list of things to practice daily to help you. Because you can't just go from sitting on a couch and then leaping off a mountain. You have to practice getting off the couch. You have to practice walking out the door. You have to practice walk around the block a few times. You have to practice jumping a few times, you know,
Mm.
before you can leap off a mountain. So that's what designing your life feels like, is that it does feel like leaping off a mountain.
Wow.
So you have to get used to that sensation.
Okay. Practice, practice, practice.
That's why a lot of people don't design a life, right? Because they're afraid to leap off a mountain.
You're afraid, but do it anyway. One step at a time.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Practice,
That's
practice.
right. And fail forward fast.
Fail
Yeah.
forward fast.
All right. Enough for today.
I enjoyed it so much. Thank you so much for sharing all of these gold nuggets and wisdom. And I think I will be very curious to ask you more in details about some of these 20s. So I'll reach out to you directly. Yes.
Anytime. Anytime. And anyone is welcome to ask me or have any questions, or if they have a plan or a secret dream and they want to share with us. Both Ron and I would love to support you around your dream and share it with us so that we can like help you make it pop happen like popcorn.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.